Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke, and today I want to share some tips and tricks for your iPhone that I bet you probably didn't know about. And this is part 2 of this series, so I will link video number 1 up above. I do recommend you check that one out as well. And stay till the end because I do have a tip that'll help you in case you're ever in an emergency. So this first tip is going to help you be so much more productive because it'll allow you to organize multiple emails and messages at one time. So instead of having to select emails one by one, which is incredibly tedious and frustrating, you can select as many as you want all at once. And the awesome thing is you don't even have to press the edit button first. So what you would do, instead of using one finger to select an email, you would use 2 fingers at the same time and drag down. And you'll see multiple emails will be selected. And then you see all your regular action buttons. You can mark them as unread, move them, trash them, whatever you do with your email. If you're an inbox 0 person like me, reveal yourself in the comments. But it just lets you do multiple things all at once and makes life so much easier. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not exclusive to email. This also works in messages. So if you have a ton of messages you want to mark as an unread or delete, something like that, it'll work in iMessage as well. All right, this next tip is for anyone that takes a lot of screenshots. And I currently, according to my phone, have 640 screenshots. So this clearly applies to me. So what you would do is the next time you take a screenshot, and let's say, you're just taking the screenshot for one code or one little thing on the page that you want to remember later, but you risk forgetting what it is if you're only going to reference that screenshot in a few days or a week. So what you would do is you would pull up the screenshot, you would hit the edit button in the top right-hand corner. You'll see this little marker, the markup button, again in the top right-hand corner, and click that. And then at the bottom right, you'll see this little plus button. When you click on that, you'll see the option to have a magnifier. By clicking on that, we'll bring up this little circle, and you can make it bigger or smaller with the blue dot that you see. And then you would just essentially put that magnifier over whatever code or whatever piece of information it is you want to reference when you look at this screenshot. And that way, you'll just be able to look at this picture next time and remember exactly why you took the screenshot in the first place. All right, this next one is one I think a lot of us maybe knew about at one point, but forget and don't utilize it enough. So instead of clicking to open the camera app, you can just hold and you can right away see different options. Take a selfie, record a video, take a portrait photo. So you don't even have to open the app to get to the menu. You can just select it right from here and remove a few friction points. Same thing with the calendar app is a big one I use it for. So force touch, and you can add an event right away. And this will work for a bunch of different apps, but not all of them, so you can play around too. Just force touch all of the apps on your home screen and see what has a menu, but most Apple apps will. So even like Safari has one, you can go right away to like your reading list or a private tab. And force touching apps is not just for the homepage. It also works incredibly well on your control screen. So if you access your control screen by pulling down on the top right, the big one here, again, you can do it with the camera, but the big one is probably the flashlight. So if you force touch on the flashlight, you can actually select the flashlight intensity. The other one I probably use force touch on the most would be for timers. So instead of having to open up the timer app, all you would do is from my control center, force tap on the timer, and right away I can again slide to select how many minutes I need to time. So getting in the habit of using these shortcuts is just gonna end up saving you so many clicks and so much time in the end. Now this next one is to help you get the perfect amount of zoom when taking a photo. So we're gonna open the camera app. You have the option at the bottom to select different zoom levels, but it's pretty restrictive. It only gets you 3. Sometimes, one's too much, the other's not enough. So you really wanna find that balance. Or sometimes you're just stretching your arm and holding your phone so precariously, all the weight is balanced, you really don't want to have to like lift your thumb to move it to another zoom. This solves all those problems. What you would do is hold press on any of the zoom levels and then just slide. You'll see this nice little like diagram come up, and you can just move your thumb from side to select a more precise zoom. For these next few tips, we're gonna be in the Photos app. And picture this, you're at a restaurant with your friend and they ask you, hey, can you send me that picture we took in Portugal like 3 years ago? And you have no idea what to do, because who would ever expect you to be able to find that? Well, by going to the Photos app, we're going to use the search function. And guess what? Yes, you can access that by force touching from the home screen and going right to search. And then in search, you have a few options. So if you actually remember, okay, we went to Portugal in November of 2020, let's say. In the search, you can either type or use the speech function and just say November 2020 and show you all of your photos from November 2020. But let's say you're not quite sure, you don't quite remember the day, the month that you went, something like that, just type in Portugal and it'll show you all of the pictures you've taken in Portugal. So it just makes it a little bit faster to give your friend what they're asking for. Now, something else I do, let's say I want to access one of the earliest photos on my phone, or something, you know, I don't remember too much detail about, but I know kind of a vague idea what I'm looking for. Well, I currently have 20,000 photos on my phone, or close to it. So the default view of 3 photos across takes an enormous amount of time to scroll all the way up to the beginning of my photos. So what you can do is pinch in and then scroll up to whatever you're looking for. Obviously, you have to have a bit of an eagle eye for like what you're looking for, like trying to remember a color or something that's going to catch your attention. But either way, if it is like an easier photo, or sometimes it's just easier to see the photos in groups, you can kind of figure out what you're looking at. It's just so much easier to do the pinch in, and then once you know where you're going, use 2 fingers to pinch out and get into like the 5 photos across view or the 3 photos across view again. Now, if you go into settings and scroll down to emergency SOS, you're gonna see a few different options or a few different things that you can do to alert emergency services when you need help. So the first one is call with hold and release. So you would essentially hold one of the volume buttons, either one, and the power button at the same time for an extended period of time. And all of a sudden, you know, you'll hear a countdown, an alarm will sound, and then it'll call emergency services for you if you haven't canceled. The second option is, let's say, you know, you maybe don't have access to 2 hands to do that. You can turn on call with 5 button presses, and then you only have to hit the power button 5 times consecutively to do the same thing. The third option is to do all of this quietly. So if you're in an area, you know, you don't want anyone in the vicinity to hear the countdown or the alarm, you can turn on call quietly, and then you can do the same either action or whichever one you have turned on, and it'll skip the countdown, it'll skip the warning alarm, it'll just call emergency services right away. I won't lie, I was a little hesitant to turn on the call quietly option just because I thought I might accidentally trigger emergency services and not know. So what I did and what I recommend you do is turn on the first 2 for like a few days or a week, and see if you ever accidentally trigger it. You'll at least hear the warning, the countdown, and can cancel it before it calls emergency services. But if that never happens, which for me, that never happened, like I thought it would, it never did, then you can be more assured that by turning on call quietly, you won't be accidentally calling emergency services. But if ever you do need it, it's handy and you have it set up already. If you got value out of today's video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel for more videos. Have a great day. Bye.